Hi, I'm Peyton. I'm currently a married woman, but I almost wasn't one due to my mother-in-law, Tina. My husband Archer and I come from very different backgrounds. I am a college dropout and own a small business. My parents had a gambling addiction and lost everything, so I pretty much had to drop out of college 1 year later and take control of my family. I worked myself to the bone and stopped contact with my parents after they refused to get help. So you can say that my life was full of problems. Archer had a completely different life. His parents were rich and had good jobs. His father passed away when he was a toddler, so Tina raised Archer for most of his life. Archer went to college and had a great job as well. Our difference in backgrounds was what made Tina so against me. Or that was what I initially thought. However, it soon became apparent that Tina was obsessed with keeping her son to herself. The moment Archer and I had decided to start dating, she blew up at her son. Over the years, Archer never got into serious relationships because his mother guilted him about it. She used to tell him how she thought he was abandoning her. She was so controlling that she even texted a few women from his phone and made up some horrible stories to scare them away. She even made Archer give up his dream college just because it was in another city. Archer never complained and always tried to accommodate his mom, but he started to ignore her ridiculous demands after he started to date me. He was growing old and wanted to do things his way for once. Tina never liked this change in him. She started to blame me for it and accuse me of stealing her son. No matter how much I tried to make her see reason, she wouldn't listen. She actually used to show up on our dates to make a scene at the place by calling me names. I could literally write a book on what she has done. Archer and I were patient until we announced our engagement and Tina refused to accept it. She said, "I will not allow you to get married to this woman, Archer. This marriage will not happen." Why are you so against me, Tina? Can't you see how happy your son is with me? Shut your mouth, Peyton. I know you're trying to take my son away from me. You are nothing but a horrible person. Mom, she's not taking me away from you. I'm old now, and it's natural for me to start a family of my own. How can you be so cruel to your own mother, Archer? You proposed to her despite me saying no. I will never accept her as a daughter-in-law, Archer. You will never get my blessing. Tina made a huge scene that day and stormed off to her house. After that, she went low contact with us. Archer was heartbroken and didn't know what to do. For a few months, the two of us tried to make Tina see reason, but Tina wasn't cooperating at all. Eventually, we started to discuss wedding plans and looked at vendors. However, Tina's issues were always in the back of my mind. I was having doubts that Tina would do something to destroy our wedding. I knew her well, so I knew that this wasn't a remote possibility. Tina was perfectly capable of ruining everything for us. I stressed about this so much that I had a hard time concentrating on wedding preparations. One day, I cracked and told Archer, "I'm really worried about the wedding, Archer. I don't even want to plan anything." "Why? What's wrong, honey? Tell me what's bothering you." "It's your stupid mother, Archer." "What about her?" "I don't think she's going to sit around quietly and let us get married in peace. I have no doubt that she will do something nasty or stir up some drama at our wedding." I don't know what to say about that, Peyton. I'm kind of afraid about the same thing, to be honest. I don't even want to set a date, Archer. A wedding is supposed to be the best day of our lives, but somehow I'm dreading it. You're right, Peyton. There's no use rushing this when we both feel that way. But I do want to get married to you, so I guess we have to figure something out. Archer and I had a long talk before deciding on what to do. Not inviting Tina to our wedding wasn't possible because Archer still wanted her blessings. She was one of the few family members he had left, so I knew why he couldn't get rid of her. So I never suggested that option. Instead, Archer gave me a good idea about what we could do to make sure we get married without Tina stirring up trouble. His plan was brilliant, so I agreed to it instantly. I won't tell you what the plan was. You will find out in this story. Tina kept her cold attitude towards us for a whole year. She wasn't budging on her stance. Tina actually called very rarely and didn't bother to show up at our newly bought house more than once. She was frosty to us and didn't even wish Archer on his birthday. She was holding on to her hate very strongly and secretly hoping that it would make Archer reconsider marrying me. She is self-centered that way. Archer tried his best to make his mother understand that he loves me and is happy with me. But no, she just couldn't have her precious boy getting married. 1 year passed and we slowly started to accept that Tina will always be this way. It really bothered Archer and made him sad, but he wasn't going to leave me just to keep his mom happy. So he just accepted things as they were and didn't push his mom anymore. We went about our lives and were okay with Tina's occasional phone calls. But then something strange happened. Tina came to visit us very suddenly. She avoided talking to us, let alone coming to visit us unannounced. So her showing up out of the blue really got us a little worried. We let her in but didn't say a word because we were very confused. All three of us sat down and Tina cleared her voice to say, "You two must be wondering why I showed up so suddenly." "You can't fault us for that, Mom. You barely even talk to us anymore, let alone visit the house." "I know, Archer. I have been a very difficult person for the past year. I'm sorry for that, dear son." "Oh, thanks for saying that, Mom." Archer was looking confused as ever, and so was I. Tina coming to our house and apologizing to us was something completely new. My mind was spinning, and I had no idea why she was saying these things. The last time we talked, she was adamant about staying away and not speaking to us at all. But now, she was inside our home, apologizing out of her own accord. Archer and I were stunned. However, Tina was all smiles and said, "I know you guys are thinking about what's going on. Well, it's just that I have come to a realization about you guys." "And what is it, Tina?" "I think I've been very unfair to you and my son, Peyton. You must understand that I am a single mother, so it's hard for me to feel replaced." "I did understand that and tried my best to make you comfortable. I am not replacing you, Tina. You didn't listen to me." "What can I say? I was a little irrational, maybe. I thought that my boy would stay mine forever." "Things won't happen that way, Mom. You know eventually I would marry someone and settle down to have my own family." "I understand that, Archer, and I accept it. I don't want to stand against your relationship anymore." You can guess how much her words surprised us. After troubling us for years, she finally said that she wouldn't be against our relationship anymore. Can you imagine that, guys? Tina was saying that she would accept our relationship. Archer literally did a double take at this unexpected news. I knew he was happy because his eyes lit up a little. No matter how hard Archer was trying to deal with Tina's hate, I could tell that he missed her a lot. So he was very happy to hear his mother finally decided to give up fighting. But there was still a lot of uncertainty in our minds. He said to his mom, "You are not joking, right, Mom? Are you really going to accept our relationship? Maybe our marriage too, when we finally decide to have the ceremony?" "I will be happy to see you get married, Archer. I know you're stalling the wedding because of me. Well, you don't have to anymore. You can have the wedding of your dreams now." "Oh, well, I guess we could have the ceremony now." "Yeah, I want you to be happy, son. I feel awful knowing that you wasted a year because of me. I created so much trouble for you already." "It's okay, Tina. We're just happy that you came around. I'm glad you're willing to give us a chance. You apologized, and that's enough." No, an apology is the least I could have given you. I need to do something more to make things up to you two. So I've been thinking that I will pay for your wedding. The day was turning out to be surprisingly better than ever. We were having a very boring weekend, just chilling at home and all. But now we were hit with the news that my mother-in-law was going to not only accept our relationship, but also help us pay for our wedding. Tina was smiling ear to ear, but I was now getting really suspicious. My husband, of course, was also very happy, although he tried to say that we didn't need the money. I was thinking about the same thing. Archer said, "Mom, you don't have to pay for anything. We'll be happy if you just attend and give us your blessings." That's right, Tina. We don't have a lot of expectations for our wedding. A small backyard wedding will do for us. What nonsense, guys. You two fought so hard to make your relationship successful. It warrants a nice big wedding to celebrate this union. I know you two are not keen on spending money on a huge wedding. That's why I offered to help out. It's really not necessary, Mom. We had the funds for a big wedding, but we prioritized getting a house over that. We are really okay with a small celebration. We had a lot of back and forth with Tina until she started crying and talked about how she would feel better if we accepted the money as an apology. She also told us that the money had no strings attached. That meant she was giving us full control over what we planned. She actually said that she would not give any opinions because she knew better than to insert herself in someone else's wedding. Somehow, I had my doubts about that. In the end, we ended up agreeing with Tina because we really had no other option. We got her blessings after a lot of hassle and didn't want any more drama, so we accepted her offer and left it at that. Tina was surprisingly pleasant for the rest of her stay and even agreed to have dinner before she left. She complimented my cooking when I offered her my home-cooked meals. Archer was so happy, and it really warmed my heart to see him relax around his mother after so long. But there was this nagging feeling in my head. After Tina left, I decided to sit down with Archer and talk to him about it. I said, "I don't know, Archer. Your mom was lovely today, but I still have a bad feeling about this entire thing." "Don't be so negative, Peyton. My mom is trying her best." "Can you really blame me for my doubts, Archer? Your mother has been nothing but nasty to me. I know you didn't have a good experience with my mom, but can you please give her this chance? She did apologize to you and didn't even make any passive remarks today." "I know, but still, honey, relax. Mom wants a chance, so let's just give her one. We have nothing to lose, right?" Archer was right about this one thing. We really did have nothing to lose. Even if I was a little skeptical from the beginning, I decided to set aside my doubts. I did it for my husband because he deserved to have one final chance to see if his mother would make things right. I wouldn't say I ever regretted that decision. Things didn't go as planned, but I was able to outsmart Tina anyway. Tina and I slowly started to have a relationship. While we weren't best of friends, we did have a pretty civil relationship. I won't lie and say that I was happy to have her in my life. I tend not to forgive people easily, especially when it comes to people like Tina, but I could see how much happier my husband was, so I made an effort to get to know Tina and see if she had really changed for good. As she had promised, she did end up paying for the wedding. Much to my surprise, Tina never inserted herself into the wedding planning or gave any opinions. We invited her to accompany us for decisions, and all she did was agree with our decisions and make the payments. The only thing she didn't pay for was my wedding dress. She was adamant about paying for it, but I kept refusing because my gut told me to do so. Tina, however, made all the rest of the payments. The wedding was scheduled to happen only 6 months after Tina's sudden change of heart. In those 6 months, Tina was being super nice and even ended up spending a lot of time at our house. She rarely made bad comments to me and apologized regularly for being a nasty human in the past. Archer was over the moon and visibly happier as well. He finally had the two most important people in his life getting along like family. As the wedding date was getting near, I was starting to feel that maybe we would have a drama-free wedding after all. The arrangements weren't extravagant, but it was still a day we were looking forward to. But before the day ever arrived, all our hopes were crushed. One day, when I went to the wedding venue to check out some minor details, they told me that someone had canceled the wedding. I didn't need to know rocket science to understand who may have done it. I immediately got out and made some calls to all my vendors. You can guess what they said. That's right, guys. Just 2 weeks before our wedding day, my mother-in-law canceled everything she had paid for. Every single thing was canceled. I was super angry and was kind of kicking myself for allowing her back in my life. I actually did cry for like 10 minutes before remembering the ace I had over her. That actually brought a smile to my face. I got into my car, went home and called my husband home to tell him what was going on. The two of us then called Tina over to talk. Tina arrived looking all smug because she knew her plan had been discovered. My husband was absolutely crushed and simply said, "What happened, Mom? Why did you do this?" "So you finally discovered what I did. Good for you, I guess." "Stop being so smug, Tina. What you did is horrible. Why on earth did you agree to make those payments if you didn't want to honor your word?" "Are you asking me why I did it? Let me ask you something, Peyton. Why did you believe me when I said I would accept you as my daughter-in-law? You knew well enough that I hate you with my being." Tina was back to her old self after all. Actually, no, guys. I'm so sorry for wording this wrongly. Tina didn't change back to her old self because she hadn't gotten better in the first place. Throughout this time, she was the same rotten woman who did everything in her power to destroy my relationship. She still had no regard for her son's feelings and didn't think what she did was wrong. Tina was acting all smug and cheerful, which made her look like an evil character straight out of a movie. Archer looked even more defeated after hearing her words and said, "Mom, after all these months, how can you still talk to Peyton like that?" "I told you, Archer, she's nothing but an absolutely useless woman. You needed to get rid of her, but I see that she has sunk her claws in very deep. But don't worry, your mom is here to save you." "So, this was all a plan for you to save your son from me? All these lies and false promises just so you can separate us?" "That's right. I intentionally did this so that you would believe me and let me pay for your wedding. Then I went ahead and canceled it all. I know you two don't have the funds to rearrange everything. Now you won't be able to get married to my son, Peyton." Tina gave me an evil smile while telling me what her plan was. I won't lie, but her plan really was pretty impressive. She took a year to think things thoroughly and then came up with a plan to destroy my wedding. But she has made a colossal mistake in her planning. She was right in saying that we didn't have the funds to replace everything since we exhausted our resources in buying a house. But she had no idea that we really didn't need to replace everything to get married. In fact, she didn't know that we were already married. I started to laugh at Tina when she said that now I wouldn't be able to marry Archer anymore. She looked really awkward as her smile melted away into confusion. After a while, she got irritated and said, "Why on earth are you laughing, Tina? Did I say something funny?" "Oh my God, Tina. You can really make some solid plans. Maybe you should consider writing stories for Disney. Anyway, I'm sorry to inform you that your plan hasn't exactly worked." "What? What do you mean? There's no way you can arrange everything in 2 weeks. There will be no wedding." "Oh, that's all right, Tina. We actually don't need a wedding anyway." "Now, what is that supposed to mean?" "I need to tell you something that you don't know, Tina. The thing is, Archer and I are actually already married. The look on Tina's face was absolutely priceless. For a moment, she was absolutely petrified and looked like I had told her something impossible. But then she hardened her features very quickly. I think she didn't consider what I said was possible. Tina was in denial and ended up yelling at me. What on earth are you talking about? That's impossible. You two are not married. This was supposed to be your wedding. Well, you were wrong about that, Tina. I secretly married your son a year back, and this ceremony was just for show. No, that's impossible. That can't be true. Why can't it be true, Tina? You know, Archer and I are not very religious, so we were content going to a marriage register and getting the deed done. The ceremony was supposed to be only a celebration of tradition. Nothing too important, actually. I don't believe you, Peyton. My son would never do something like this. Your son is right here, Tina. Why don't you ask him? Oh, I will ask him, Peyton. Archer, what is this crazy woman saying? Tell me you didn't get married. Tina looked at Archer rather expectantly. She couldn't even comprehend the fact that her own son would get married without her permission. And we never told her about it. Then again, we specifically got married in secret so that Peyton wouldn't make a mess of our wedding. Do you guys remember when Archer and I talked about the wedding? Yeah, he was actually the one who came up with this idea. He asked us to get married in secret and not tell his mother. He was still holding out hope that his mom would change, and later we could have a ceremony with everyone involved. We couldn't avoid Tina's drama in the end, but we did get married after all. And, thankfully, Tina didn't get to spoil that one. Archer was probably now realizing that he made the best decision of his life. Although I think he was a lot hurt when Tina revealed her evil plans to us. He was sitting quietly with his head in his hands and didn't say much after that first sentence. But now, after Tina questioned him, Archer replied, Yes, it's true. Peyton and I did get married. What? No, that can't be true. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't even get to attend the wedding. We didn't invite you on purpose, Mom. Son, tell me right now, did Peyton trap you and blackmail you into getting married? This was all her sick and twisted plan, right? Don't blame my wife, Mom. This was my plan, and we did it on my insistence. Peyton didn't make this plan or trap me like you said. Tina's face said it all. She hadn't expected her own son to come up with a plan to exclude her. She started to tremble and even sat down to regain her composure. I stood in front of her smugly as I watched her panic and heard her voice break when she said, Why would you do such a horrible thing, Archer? Why did you exclude your own mother from your wedding? Why? Are you really asking me why I excluded you? Yes, I have to know why you would do such an awful thing to me. At this point, I saw my husband boil over with anger. So far, he had been sad and a little quiet while the reality of Tina's behavior was sinking into his brain. But now, he was like a raging volcano. Tina's accusatory tone and indifference to her own wrong actions drove my husband over the edge. He legitimately starts to scream at Tina and says, I excluded you from my real wedding so that you don't have the opportunity to mess it up. What? You were scared I would mess it up? Yes, I was scared, and now I see I was right to be scared. You thought maybe we could have a ceremony after you came to your senses and decided to value my happiness. But somewhere in my heart, I knew you would do everything possible to stop me from marrying the love of my life. Son, you're getting angry at me for nothing. I was just looking out for you. I know you deserve a better wife. No, you were not looking out for me. I don't deserve a better wife, but I definitely deserve a better mother. Tina started to cry at Archer's words and tone. He had never spoken to her that way. Yes, he had been stern and frosty at the most, but never this angry with his mom. That day, he was straight up yelling at her for what she tried to do. Archer was extremely mad and Tina didn't know what to do. So she turned on the waterworks and said in a wobbly voice, "How can you say that, Archer? You want a better mother than me?" "Yes, I deserve a better mother. A mother who won't play with my feelings and then stab me in the back. A mother who would value my happiness instead of making a fool out of me. I was just..." "No, Mom, don't try to justify your actions in any way. You humiliated me and my wife by promising us a wedding and then going back on your word. We wouldn't have minded having a small wedding, but you made us book everything just so you could try and stop us." "I didn't want you to marry Peyton. I made my stance very clear, and yet you went behind my back and got married to her." "Who I marry was never for you to decide, Mom. I gave you a chance hoping to finally put my happiness first for once. But today, I've realized what a fool I was. I won't be fooled anymore, Mom. This time, I will do what I should have done a long time ago." "What are you going to do, Archer? You have already gotten married without me. Are you going to kick me out of your ceremony too?" "That's a given, Mom. You'll be kicked out of the ceremony for sure. But along with that, I'm kicking you out of my life as well." My respect for my husband reached the sky after this comment. I had no idea that Archer would actually tell his mother to get out of his life. Tina hadn't expected it either, and that was clear from the shock on her face. She looked like she had been struck by lightning. She quickly started to bawl and said, "You will kick your mom out of your life for a useless woman? Don't talk about my wife like that. You are getting kicked out because you have been nothing but a nuisance to us both. What you did with the wedding was the final straw. I'm done giving you chances. Get out. And don't come back. Don't bother calling or texting because I will block you." "No, no, Archer, don't do this, please. You're angry. You need to calm down. Okay, I will apologize for my small mistake." "That was no mistake, Mom. You carefully planned this to ruin my wedding and mess up my relationship. I won't let you disrespect me, my wife, and my marriage ever again. We are done. Get out of my house right now. If you come back, I will call the cops." Tina was bawling and begging my husband not to kick her out like that. She finally realized that she had messed up, and now Archer was angry beyond belief. I literally didn't have to say anything else. Without even discussing it with Archer, I got my wish. He was actually removing Tina from our lives, at least temporarily. My dear mother-in-law, however, had a hard time accepting this fact. She had no problem going low contact on her own terms because she was in control. But now, that control was taken away from her. Archer was the one going not low contact, but no contact, which was much worse. Tina had to try and stop it from happening, so she did her best to change Archer's mind. I wouldn't be here telling you guys this story if Tina was able to change Archer's mind. Tina did try her best, from begging, sobbing, pleading, and even shouting at me for being responsible for everything. You can guess Archer's reaction when she started to accuse me of things again. My husband somehow got even madder and almost dragged Tina out of the house. She was on our porch, crying and begging for forgiveness until we yelled about calling the cops. I don't know how much Tina tried to call or text us after that. Archer and I had her blocked almost immediately. We expected her to harass us, and we didn't want to deal with her load of texts and calls. We already had enough of her nuisance for one lifetime. After Tina left, Archer broke down crying because he was hurt by what Tina did. He had sacrificed a lot for her, and this betrayal was too much for him. I comforted him and decided that he would join therapy to get a better hold of his emotions. He was also firm on being no contact for the foreseeable future because he needed a break from his stupid mother. Now, do you want to know what we did about the ceremony? We actually ended up having a small ceremony at a sea beach. After we started to call our friends to cancel their invite to the wedding, they made a plan of their own. They pitched in money and made arrangements for us to get married at a beach resort. It was their wedding gift and bachelor's party all in one. We got into our cars and drove to the beach city to have the wedding. Remember how I paid for my wedding dress out of pocket? It was a great decision since Tina couldn't take it away. I actually got married in that, and Archer wore the suit that he had worn to our legal marriage.